My girlfriend asked me for a break, but she actually went on a trip with her abusive ex-boyfriend, so I gave away all her things and left the house empty. Before we go on, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us which city you're tuning in from. My name is Gene. I'm 28 years old. I was born in South Korea, but I've been living in Mexico for 5 years. I came for work, for an opportunity at a technology company. And although at first everything was new, over time I adapted quite well. I learned Spanish, made friends, and above all, I met Marta, the most important person I've had in my life. I met Marta about 6 months after I arrived. We met in a yoga class. Yes, seriously. And from there everything flowed. We started dating, and it was an immediate connection. She's 25 now, but back then she was 21. Very cheerful, friendly, direct, with a sense of humor that I loved. I felt very lucky from the beginning. After a year of being in a relationship, we decided to move in together. It was fast, I know, but everything seemed to work so well. And the truth is that these last 4 years have been the best of my life. We shared everything: trips, series, food, work, routines, friends. I always felt she was my partner, my home in a country that wasn't mine, and that's why I'm so confused now. A few days ago, Marta asked me to talk. We were having dinner at home, as usual, and suddenly she tells me she wants a break. Just like that. At first, I didn't understand. I thought it was a joke or that she was exaggerating over some silly fight, but I realized immediately that she was serious. She told me she needed space, that lately she felt she was losing herself, that she didn't know what she wanted anymore, that it wasn't my fault, that I was a great boyfriend, that she loved me very much, but that she needed time alone. I didn't know what to say. I just looked at her. I got a lump in my throat. I asked her if I had done something wrong, if she was mad at me for something. She said no, that this was about her, that she was feeling weird, like disconnected from everything, that she needed to be alone for a while. And that was it. It's been 3 days since we had that conversation. I haven't slept well. I haven't eaten well. She's at her sister's house. We haven't spoken since she left. She left me a couple of messages telling me she didn't want me to feel bad, that she really loved me, but that for now she needed this space. But what does that mean? How can she love me and at the same time want to get away? How do you ask for a break in a relationship that has been stable, beautiful, without big fights or serious problems? I don't want to sound naive, but I really thought everything was fine. We didn't argue. There was no fight. There were no screams, no jealousy, no infidelity. She hugged me every day. She told me she loved me. We were planning things for the future. We were looking at options to change apartments a week ago. Everything seemed normal, and now I feel like I didn't understand anything. I read here that when someone asks for a break, they're actually already thinking about breaking up, that it's a soft way of getting out of the relationship, or that maybe there's someone else. And yes, I confess that has crossed my mind too. I don't want to distrust her, but I'm human. It hurts me to think there might be someone else, or that she's pushing me away because she doesn't feel the same anymore, but I also find it hard to imagine because she never gave me any signs of that. Marta was always very affectionate, very present. She helped me when I had an anxiety crisis a couple of years ago. We traveled to Korea last year so she could meet my family. She was excited about that. My parents adored her. We always talked about having children, not now, but in a few years. So what happened? Another thing that's making me feel bad is that I don't know what to do now. Should I wait? Should I stay away completely? Is it okay for me to send her a message, or will that just push her further away? My friends tell me to focus on myself, to distract myself, to give her the space she asked for. But it's hard. The house is empty without her. Every corner reminds me of something. Her favorite mug, her toothbrush, her books. I can't help but miss her. Sometimes I feel like writing to her just to tell her I love her, but I stop myself because I know that if I do that, I might pressure her more. I never imagined being in this situation. I've had partners before, but no relationship like this. Marta was the first person I truly saw a future with. We had built a life together, and now everything seems to be falling apart for no apparent reason. I don't want to play the victim. Maybe I did do something and I didn't see it. Maybe I was too routine, too safe, and that bored her. I don't know, but it hurts not to have clarity. It hurts that she won't give me a more concrete explanation, and above all, It hurts not to know if this is the beginning of the end. I don't know if anyone has been through something similar, but I would appreciate any advice. What do I do now? Do I talk to her? Do I wait? How do you get over something like this when it's not completely over? Thanks if you've read this far. I really needed to get this out. Update. Hello again, everyone. Thanks for the comments on my previous post. Really, I didn't think so many people would take the time to read and give me words of encouragement. It helped more than you can imagine. I'm writing this because I don't even know how to start. I'm in shock. It's been 5 days since Marta asked for the famous break. As I said before, we had grown distant without a clear reason. She told me she was confused, that she needed space to find herself again, that she loved me, but that for now she didn't want to be with me, that it wasn't my fault, that there was no one else. And I, like a fool, believed her. I haven't written to her a single time since she left. I respected her space. I swallowed my doubts, my desire to hug her, my impulses to look for her, and simply tell her I miss her. I stayed at home alone, in silence, trying to understand what went wrong. This morning, I was having breakfast when I got a message from Luis, a mutual friend we both met when we started dating. He was always neutral, a good guy. He never got involved in anything. He just wrote to me, "Hey Gene, did you know about this?" I open the message, and the first thing I see is a photo. Marta in Las Vegas. Marta hugging another man. A man I didn't recognize at first, but after seeing the comments under the Instagram post, because yes, it was an Instagram story captured by someone else, it became clear it was her ex. The ex she had spoken to me about so many times with hatred, with disgust, with tears. The ex who, according to her, was a jealous psycho, the one who insulted her, the one who controlled her, the one who once, in her exact words, raised his hand to her, the one who left her with emotional scars, and whom she never, ever thought she'd see again. And now, 5 days after leaving me, with a broken heart, she's on vacation with him in Las Vegas, smiling, hugging him as if nothing had happened. Luis asked me if I knew anything. I told him no. I couldn't help it. My hands were shaking. I felt like I couldn't breathe. That feeling of the floor opening up beneath you. The same woman who was sleeping next to me a week ago, who said she loved me, is now with the guy who once tore her to pieces. How do you explain that? I felt humiliated, betrayed, used. The first thing I thought was that this break was just an excuse to go with him without feeling so guilty, as if giving it that name disguised the truth. But how do you go from, "I love you, but I need to find myself," to, "I'm going on vacation with my abusive ex"? It makes no sense. It hurts a lot, not just because of the betrayal, but because of the lie. Because she lied to my face, because she made me believe it was all an internal process of hers, a confusing stage. She sold me that story that she didn't know what she wanted, when clearly she did know what she wanted, to go with him. You know what the worst part is? I defended her. I told my friends that Marta just needed space. I told them it wasn't anyone's fault, that there was no one else, that she was just lost. I protected her even when she was pushing me away. And she stabbed me in the back. I'm between pain and rage, between sadness and the urge to break something. And yes, I'll say it bluntly, I want revenge. I don't know what kind of revenge, or how, or if I'd really do it, but it's what I feel. Don't tell me it's not worth it, or that I should be the bigger person. Today, I don't want to be the bigger person. Today, I want her to hurt like I'm hurting. I've deleted our photos. I've put her things in a box. I haven't cried yet, but I have a lump in my throat all day. I feel ridiculous for having believed that what we had was real, for having planned a future with her, for having been so blind. I'm ashamed to have trusted so much. Now, I wonder since when they were talking. Was it before she asked me for a break? Had they been planning that trip for weeks? Was she looking me in the face while I cooked her dinner? I never thought Marta would be capable of this. Never. She told me so much about how bad it was with that guy that I find it hard to understand why she would go back to him. And yes, of course, I think maybe he changed, or she never got over him, or that I was just a rebound. But in the end, the only thing I know is that she lied to me. I don't know what will happen now. I don't know if she'll write to me, if she'll give me any explanation, or if she'll pretend nothing happened. The only thing I know is that something inside me broke, and I don't think I'll ever trust the same way again. Thanks for reading. Maybe I'll write another update later. For now, I just wanted to get all this out. I haven't told anyone else. Only Luis, who is also shocked. Only I know how much I loved her. How much it hurts. Update. It's been 10 days since the last post, and although I didn't plan on writing again, I needed to get this off my chest. Thanks to those who commented before, even those who told me I should end this chapter with dignity. I'm trying to do it my way. In these 10 days, Marta is still on her trip. Yes, still in Las Vegas with her ex. I know because I got another story where they were at a bar overlooking the strip and another where they posted a couple photo, although they deleted it after about 20 minutes. Probably because she realized some mutual friends still follow her and could see it. In all this time, she hasn't written to me a single time. Nothing, not a how are you, not a sorry, not a we'll talk later. And honestly, I don't know if I want her to. For days I stayed in this house alone, in silence. I had trouble sleeping. I lost my appetite. I was trapped between anger and sadness, between memories and the desire to forget everything. The house itself was already heavy. Every corner spoke of her. Every object was a memory, a scene. And then I made a decision. I don't want to live in a mausoleum of what was. So I started emptying everything. Marta had several things here. Clothes, her makeup, a tablet I gave her for her last birthday, a laptop I bought her for her remote work, a very expensive ergonomic chair she insisted on having, her perfumes, even a coffee maker she loved. I packed all of it, put it in bags, and donated it. Some things I gave to acquaintances who really needed them. Others I took to a women's shelter that accepts donated items. The cover and the laptop I gave to a guy I know who studies and works at an internet cafe. He didn't ask me anything. He just hugged me. And no, I didn't tell her. I didn't ask her if she wanted them back. I didn't care. It might sound drastic, but understand me. I'm not interested in keeping things from someone who has already erased me as if I were nothing. If she decided to go with her ex and say nothing, if she thinks she can pause a years-long relationship to go on vacation as if she were single, then she can lose the rest too. I also moved all the furniture that was mine. I already had it separated from before because we bought several things with money from both of us, but I took mine to a storage unit that I'm paying for separately. I only left the mattress, the one we had said we were going to replace, because it was old. I left it thrown in the center of the room. Nothing else. The house is now empty. White walls, no pictures, no smells, no photos, no soul. I want to see her face when she comes back. I want her to walk in thinking everything is the same, that she'll find me maybe hurt, but waiting for her. And for her to realize that there's nothing left, that I didn't even want to keep her things. It may sound childish, immature, emotional, maybe so, but it's also my way of regaining control. You don't know how hard it is to love someone, to take care of them for years, to think she's your life partner, only to discover that you were a secondary character in her story, that you could be replaced, ignored, left behind, as if nothing. I have no idea if she'll want to talk when she gets back, but if she does, I want her to see with her own eyes that I'm not waiting for her anymore. I don't know if this will make me feel better, but at least it gives me some peace. A step forward, a small victory, a sign, even if it's just for myself, that I'm not going to stay here frozen, watching the days go by while she lives her new life. To everyone going through something similar, there's no right way to heal, but there is a dignified way. And sometimes that dignity isn't waiting or being the bigger person. Sometimes it's saying, this is it, even if it hurts, even if everything inside you is trembling. We're worth more than being someone's plan B. Thanks for reading. Maybe I'll update this if she comes back, maybe not. For now, I just wanted to write this to remind myself that sometimes losing someone like that is also a win. Update. This is one of those times when you don't want to write, but you feel like if you don't, you're going to explode. Today was the hardest day since all this began. And if you already thought my story was sad, hold on, because this went to a whole new level. It all started this morning. I was at home having breakfast alone like all these days. There was no noise. I was getting used to that. I had made a promise to myself not to check social media, not to look for anything about Marta, just to carry on with my own stuff. And somehow I was managing it until the phone rang. It was her. I saw her on the screen, and I froze. I hesitated to answer, but I did. I don't know if it was out of curiosity, hope, or simple habit. Hello, Jean, how are you? That was her first sentence. As if nothing had happened. As if almost a month hadn't passed without a single word. As if she hadn't gone to Las Vegas with her ex. As if she hadn't thrown everything away. I answered dryly, fine, that I didn't want to give her, but it came out anyway. Then there was an awkward silence. I've been thinking about a lot of things, she said. What I did wasn't right. I was stupid. I got carried away by things from the past that don't make sense anymore. You were always there for me, and I want to come back. If you want to, of course. I didn't know what to say. I'm not going to lie. Inside, something lit up. Maybe it was anger. Maybe it was love. Maybe both. I told her that if she wanted to talk, to come over, that I was at home. An hour later, she arrived. I didn't see her come in from the window, but I heard the door open and then silence, and then her voice. What is this? She walked through the empty living room, where we used to have the gray couch we bought together, where the shelf with her plants was, where the lights she loved so much hung. Now there were only white walls and the echo of her footsteps. Where is everything? She yelled. Where are my things? I stood up and saw her standing in the middle of nowhere. Her face was pale and her eyes were full of confusion. I told her as calmly as I could. I donated your things. I gave everything away. You left. You said you needed time. Well, I used that time to clean my life of someone who no longer wants to be in it. She was stunned for a second, and then she exploded. Are you sick or what? I had important things there. My laptop. Do you know what I had there, Jean? My documents, my photos, my work. And I had a heart, Marta, I said. One that you broke into pieces. Don't be dramatic. It was a bad trip. I made a mistake. I admit it. But this is crazy. At that moment, I couldn't take it anymore. I took out my phone and opened the photos Luis had sent me. The ones of her in Las Vegas. The ones that appeared on social media for a few minutes and then disappeared. I showed her one where she and her ex were hugging in front of Fountain, smiling. Was this a mistake too? I asked her. She was silent. She didn't even deny anything. She just sighed and said, it was an impulse. I needed to disconnect. You're so monotonous, Jean. You don't understand anything. You don't know what it's like to miss something different, something more alive. More alive than me. After 4 years together? And that's when she said the worst thing. She crossed her arms, looked at me with eyes full of anger, and blurted out, yes, Jean, I miss going out with a Latino, not with a bland little Korean who doesn't understand things. Silence. Absolute silence. I felt as if the air had been sucked out of the room, as if time had suddenly stopped, not because of the rudeness, but because of the venom behind it, because of what she really meant to say. Never, in the 5 years I've been in Mexico, had anyone made me feel like that. I always felt welcome, loved, accepted. I fell in love with this land for that, for its people, for how they made me feel at home, even though it wasn't. And now the person I loved the most reduced me to that, a bland little Korean. I couldn't believe it. That's what I am to you, I said with a broken voice. She was quiet for a moment, as if she realized what she had said, but she didn't apologize. She just changed the subject. That doesn't matter now. You made me lose everything. My laptop had my work, it had my things. You're a damn psycho for giving everything away. And you're a traitor, Marta. And then she started screaming like crazy, throwing things that weren't even hers. She knocked the phone out of my hands. She told me I was an idiot, that I had ruined everything, that now she would have to start from scratch. She told me she hated me, and then she left. Just like that. I was left alone in that empty living room, listening to the echo of her voice still floating on the walls. I didn't cry. I had no tears. It was a dry pain, the kind that buries itself in your chest and doesn't come out. I felt a hole in my stomach, in my soul, not for losing her, but for seeing who she really was. For discovering that the person I loved for 4 years, with whom I built a home, with whom I dreamed of having children one day, actually didn't know me. Or worse, never valued me. Today, I didn't learn a beautiful lesson. Today, I don't have a hopeful reflection. I can only say this. Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who humiliate us the most when their masks fall off. And if you're reading this and you're in a relationship where they make you feel less, where your roots are a reason for mockery, where your love is not enough, please leave. Even if it hurts, Even if you're trembling inside, we don't deserve crumbs, we don't deserve excuses, and much less contempt. I'll stop here for now. I don't know if there will be another update. Maybe this was the end. Update. It's been a little while since the last time I wrote. I've been rebuilding myself step by step. But before I close this story completely, I need to tell you something else that happened. Something I didn't expect, but that confirmed to me that I made the right decision by getting away from Marta and everything she represented. It was a few days ago. I was already settled in my new apartment, small, but enough for me. A mattress, a table, a new laptop, and for the first time in a long time, real silence, silence that doesn't hurt, silence that calms. And just when I was starting to feel that things were taking shape, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, and on the other end, a voice I didn't recognize at first, but that spoke to me with an aggressive and confident tone. Jean, the little Korean, right? Who's speaking? I asked, not understanding. I'm Marta's ex. And yes, the same one she went to Las Vegas with. Look, let's talk. Of course. Yes. I stayed silent. I didn't know what he wanted, but whatever it wasn't going to be good. Look, you bastard, they already told me about your little show, that you gave away her stuff, that you left her with nothing, that you crossed the line. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but I'm going to make it easy for you. Either you give me some cash to replace what you threw away, or the next time I see you, I'll break your face. It's that simple. I didn't know whether to laugh or get angry. I listened to him talk as if I were the villain of this whole thing, as if he hadn't gotten involved with a woman who was in a relationship, as if he hadn't taken her on vacation while I was left devastated in the house where we lived. I bought all of that. I told him every single thing, the tablet, the laptop, her desk, even her clothes. Nothing was yours or hers. It was mine, and I decided to give it away. Well then, you're going to regret it. I'm going to find you, and when I do, I interrupted him. You know what? Go to hell. You don't scare me. You don't frighten me. You're nothing more than a pathetic guy who had to get back with his ex on the sly, and who now wants to get money from the one who really loved her. And I hung up. My hand didn't tremble. I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel anxiety like I thought I would. What I felt was relief, because for the first time I understood that I wasn't the one who had to feel guilty about anything. I gave my all. Love, support, stability. I was honest, I was loyal, I was patient. And yes, maybe I was naive, but I wasn't trash. They were. That call left me thinking about many things. For a moment, I admit, I thought about going back to Korea. I thought I had nothing here anymore, that I was alone, that this country that gave me so much now hurt me, that maybe starting over there would be easier, but no, because I can't. I love this country. I love its people, its food, its way of looking at life. I love how they adopted me without asking me anything, how they made me feel like I belonged. And although Marta was an exception, the exception doesn't erase everything else. Besides, in Korea, life is different. More stressful work, longer days, little rest. Here I have a calm job with good colleagues. I have time for myself to go out to breathe. And although I'm alone now, I prefer the solitude that gives me peace to the company of someone who lies to me and despises me. Today I'm writing this from my new living room. I already have a few pieces of furniture, not many. A plant, a picture with a phrase in Spanish that says, "Where you are happy, you always return." And I think that describes me. I'm returning to myself, to who I was before I met her, to who I was when I first arrived in Mexico with fear, but also with hope. And although this time I didn't come by plane, the journey back has been just as long, but I'm making it.